Schindler with the Military Wire. Boy, we are doing kind of an off-the-cuff interview today. I was able to grab Dr. Shante Hall. She's so busy. She's all over the map. Many of you know who she is. She's the CEO of Centurion Military Alliance. They've got this amazing program that helps military and veteran families transition from active duty back into the civilian sector and even kind of work on retention at times. So she's all over the map. I'm blessed that we got her today. We're going to tackle three questions. We're going to keep this quick. We're going to keep it simple. And Dr. Hall, you were where did I find you? Where are you today?
You were just waiting to ask that.
I
Yes.
was. Yeah,
Yes.
totally. Yeah.
I am actually at the dentist office. My son is getting his braces tightened. So afterwards, he has requested a really good burger from his favorite burger place because they get sore after about an hour. So happy to be here, though. Thanks for squeezing me in.
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally blessed. Well, I mean, you're bringing people into the dentist's office, and I'm bringing them into the kitchen. So, I mean, there's this is going to be fun today. So, I really I want to jump into the key questions that we have. Huge changes going on in the marketplace right now. So, I want to tackle this question with today's volatile job market. Okay, which is, and I mean, it's volatile. There's uncertainty in the marketplace. How can transitioning service members strategically position themselves for a career success beyond the uniform?
Yeah, it's first it's tough times. It truly is. And my heart goes out to those that are facing transition right now and trying to kind of figure out that landscape as they're coming out. Not only do we have our transitioning service members facing, but we now have a lot of veterans and federal government contractors and government employee, and there's so much going on, and it's important that we address this, Mike, in real time and let those that we serve know that there are programs out there, one, to support them. But it comes down to something very, very simple. They have to know who they are.
Mm,
And that's the core at the end of the day is when we ask someone, what do you want to do or what do you think you can do? We need them to have an answer. We need them to understand that there are only so many jobs that are out there. And in a world, and you and I have talked about this, that focuses a lot on, well, you're getting out of the military and now you can do what you want to do. It,
hmm.
that doesn't always work out, nor sometimes what we think we want to do doesn't necessarily work out either. And so my recommendation is that, one, go right now to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and look at what jobs are actually out there. There can only be so many Instagram influencers, right?
Yeah.
And we like to kind of tongue in cheek and have those jokes, but we genuinely care or we wouldn't be running the programs that we run. So do the research. Google is at your fingertips to be able to look at and say, okay, data analytics is a critical career field right now, or we need people in the trades. And we have to kind of step back and say, what are we willing to accept? And any of us that have served in the military, we've held multiple roles. And
Yeah.
so night our jobs have switched. And so again, I say, what are you willing to do? And at the end of the day, it's a term that we use with the Centurion Military Alliance multidisciplinary curriculum. We need you to understand your positionality. And what does that mean? Who are you right now in relation to education, finance, and vocation? Does your level of education, your certification, your licensures speak to your vocation, a position description, a job description, the black and white? So, and sometimes we make it more difficult than it is, but your level of education needs to speak to that job description. And further, will that job allow you to be okay, whether it's just yourself, whether it's your family, and those conversations need to be had in real time. This is the bottom line of what I need to make. We've all faced those uncertain times, and I can attest to being a single mother and going, oh my goodness, what am I facing right now? What is the salary I need to make? And guess what?
Mhm.
I might need to have two or three jobs, which I've
Yeah.
had, right?
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
And so we might be going through some times, and I think the messaging again needs to be a strong message of do the research, know who you are, have an elevator pitch, and then we can have the nice information come out of don't do it alone, reach
Yeah.
out, support, right?
Yeah. I think you spoke to something that's really, really important is understanding your brand when you get out, right? The military is your brand when you're in, right? Whatever your branch of service is, and then you get out. And it's really understanding, to your point, what is my brand? And what are it's the problem solution, I think, is what I hear you saying is identify, go to the job index, go to some of these different, you know, opportunities where they obviously have a need and figure out what need can you fill. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, look at the statistics and the facts, and oftentimes in a world right now that is just inundated with opinions and all the news that's coming out, it's tough sometimes to weed through what is truth and what is fact, and no one knows you like you know you, and so it's so important to say, okay, look, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is updated all the time. Again, there's only so many jobs that are out there. I had an individual reach out to me today. Hey, can I get a job in IT? Hey, did you see one on my website? that I'm not aware of. And it's not that we're not helping or doing, but do the research before you go and you start getting other people's opinions or information. Again, do you meet the position description requirements?
Yep.
Can
Yep.
you do that job? And the research, it's out there. You go to Port San Antonio on my LinkedIn page. I'm the chief of community engagement for Port San Antonio with my day job. And if you click visit my website, you'll see all these jobs come up, whether it's with Standard Aero, Boeing, Accenture, Leidos, the military, government contract, all these positions. But I can't do that for you because I don't know what you do. And so
Right.
you need to be able to go in again, and it comes down to the number one, I would say that number one issue that I see with our military in transition or those spouses facing that next chapter is them not being able to articulate who they are. And worse, not knowing the bottom line salary of what they need to make to be able to financially be okay. And lastly, again, that might mean you need two or three jobs while you're in a holding status of whether it's furthering your education or actually networking and meeting people and kind of then growing, that civilian brand and understanding a little bit more about who you are.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it, not to make this a pitch session for the audience at all, but for them to really understand. I think that's where our alliance became so powerful, right? Because of the work that you guys do, and then how we work on the holistic deep dive, really helping them pull that stuff out. And I think that's the beauty of it. And you guys, so the audience is really clear. How does CMA help our struggling veterans bridge that gap? What specifically, like, what are three things that CMA does to help our military veteran families bridge the gap from active duty back into the civilian sector?
Yeah, so Centurion Military Alliance, our goal was always to get further upstream.
Yeah,
Why when we leave the installation do we automatic and regardless of rank? I talk a lot about our bias. We all have this bias, whether it's that personal bias, whether in the military we look at someone with their rank and we say, "Oh, you're a chief, you'll be fine. You're an E9, you're a colonel, you're a fill in the blank." Not necessarily. We don't know what goes on in their day-to-day lives to where we know the bottom line number of what they need to make to financially be okay, or if they simply have a desire to continue serving their community. And so CMA is a force multiplier for, and I like to talk about the three R's for recruitment, retention, and reintegration. We are not successfully right now retaining our folks in the military. And so, if there was ever a stronger message, and I know you and I, we go back and forth on this because it's stay in during these uncertain times right now. If you
100%.
if you can't articulate, people say, oh, I can make more on the outside. Well, for how long? can you make more on the outside? So truly consider, staying in, and again, we want to recruit great troops, but we're not going to recruit great troops if we're not retaining great folks, and we're not going
Yeah.
to retain great folks if we're not successfully reintegrating and understanding that transition is a daily choice. Our communities, as an Air Force veteran, I know you as a Navy veteran, we are continuing to serve our communities because it is instilled in our hearts, and our communities are not short on need. So CMA really pushes the fact of, look, we want you to stand tall as veterans. We want you to succeed, but the tools, you carry the tools that you need for success. And that is understanding, again, who you are in relation to education, finance, and vocation. Once we
Yeah.
get that down, once we get that you know who you are and you've got that strong elevator pitch and you can articulate and tell me, okay, Shantae, I need to make 116, exactly to be okay with my family, and this is my budget, and these are the jobs, this is my level of education. Then we get to turn them over and say, okay, consider going through Mike's program with Operation Military, families, because it's so important that they dive deeper and they start to understand, okay, here's some of the jobs that are out there, but this is how I will succeed in these jobs. Or
Yeah.
maybe right now, Mike, I hate this job. And then you can start to kind of navigate. Don't give up that job right now because you need it, maybe financially. But let's talk about how you can start to pivot or even volunteer in roles that you feel are far more beneficial for you.
Yeah, that comes into that sense of purpose, right? When people start to layer in, what is my spiritual purpose or my social purpose or my relational purpose or even my sacrificial purpose, which I think sometimes we spend so much time separating those. That's why people feel disconnected. They're not congruent, right? They're out of congruence because they haven't figured out how to blend those. And I think there's opportunity for people to blend those. I mean, there's so much going on. I know you're busy. I want to nail this home with the last question. And I'm truly grateful that you took time out in the dentist office to do this interview. This is so great. But people are sitting on the fence right now, right? Some are sitting on the fence. Should I stay in? Should I get out? What do you believe are the most important factors to consider in today's evolving workforce? Because it's evolving, and certainly not only in the workforce but in the military landscape. So, what do you find are the like one or two top most important factors to consider before we either get in or stay in or get out?
Yeah, it comes down to research, and I think about, we got to go personal. You got to really look at your life and go, okay, again, financially, I'll be okay for maybe this amount of time or for this long. What positions are out there that you can pivot to? And there's only so many C-suite positions that are
Yeah.
out there. There's only so many consultants. There's only so many, and it's just really important that we understand that. And last time, Mike, that you and I did a Zoom session was during a pivotal time, was during the
Yeah.
pandemic. And
Yeah.
the same exact advice goes now that it did during the pandemic. I'll never forget when we trained over 100 United Airline pilots. What was a pilot going to do when they were furloughed? And some of them, they realized HVAC, water restoration. They went and started, getting certifications, which launched into their own businesses. There were so many great success stories from that. But again, how can we meet society right now where they are? Again, as we hope that everyone who has raised their right hand to serve, to defend, and to protect, that they're truly servant leaders.
Yeah.
Cities, our communities need us now more than ever to be strong, to be bold. And so we've got to ask those hard questions and look at our families and start to say, hey, okay, if I stay in, I might PCS again, or I might deploy, or I might, sure. But if you go into that federal position, you might be at risk right now. If you go into that
Totally.
contracting position, you might be at risk right now. And so it's really important to ask those hard questions, to have the conversations with your families, and to the poor young troops that sometimes look and they're like, I'm just going to go home. I've had enough. Oh, I would say to those younger troops, truly consider staying in and remind yourself why you chose to serve in the first place. Remind yourself why you chose to leave home, and never forget that feeling of the day you either graduated basic military training and enlisted, or you commissioned and you raised your right hand. Because now, again, I think our messaging has to be strong more than ever. We need our military community to be thriving. We need our military community to be voices, to be advocates, and to continue serving our communities.
Yeah, I love that. What a great way to end. How do people find you, Shantae? How do they, where can they track you down? Because you are like this wealth of wisdom. And you are a badass when it comes to the gym. So those of you that follow Shantae, I mean, golly, I'm telling you. So where can they find you? Where can they get great tips and expertise?
Yeah, well, absolutely. On LinkedIn, Dr. Shantae Hall, super easy. And I post. And I think, Mike, thank you for the compliments. And I would tell our community the key to life is consistency. And with as many years as we've known each other, Mike, I think both of our lives showcase that consistent approach of faith,
Mhm.
family, right? Fitness,
Yep.
and those core things that make us better so that we can continue to serve. And so, again, consistency. And that would be my hope, for all that listen and follow us, is that they too realize that they can be out there, doing exactly what we do day in and day out.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you again. I love it. We're, plug in for those who are going to watch this. If you've stayed this long, you got great tips. Be sure that you find Dr. Shantae Hall on LinkedIn. She is a powerhouse there, filled with information, knowledge. If you live in the Texas area, I'd be shocked if you don't know her. And be sure that you plug into the CMA website, check out what they do through Centurion Military Alliance, and be sure to check us out, what we do here at Operation Military Family. Very important. We'll go deep with you guys. We'll figure out what your brand is. We'll help you discover who you are after that uniform comes off. And it's a powerhouse team. And I just got to say, I'm blessed to know you truly, and the work that you and your team does. So instrumental, so powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. I mean, that's why we make a great team.
Amen. Yeah, one team, one mission. Thanks, everybody. Dr. Hall, thank you.
Bye. Thank you.